And he finally claimed he cut me off, but he was catching Uber. I went to my hotel last night, 4 o'clock this morning, was getting on my nerves tonight. Says like 3 folks for him to sit in this courtroom and got a girlfriend.
She paid for both of my Ubers.
No, I did not. He paid.
Police just ran our name. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant. So I gave them my name proud, like, come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adam got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what? And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
I'm just thinking that I know for a fact, this ain't my kid.
How do you know? That don't prove nothing because who I slept with, that don't mean nothing. I used a condom, so there is no other option to cheat.
But you was sleeping around, though.
I wasn't sleeping around.
In a dramatic turn of events, Ms. King steps up and claims that Mr. Porter is the biological father of their 3-year-old son, Kalen. She declares that his denial has wrecked their relationship, emphasizing the importance of today's results to clear the air and possibly mend their bond. Grab your popcorn. The courtroom drama is just heating up.
Ms. King, you are here to prove again, off again, boyfriend Mr. Porter, that your 3-year-old son, Kyle, is his biological child. You say his denial has destroyed your relationship and you need today's results set the record straightest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here comes the curveball. Ms. King shockingly admits she faked being pregnant initially to win back Mr. Porter after their split, hoping to reignite the extinguished flames of their past romance. This bombshell revelation sends ripples through the courtroom audience. You won't believe what's coming next. Stay tuned.
And then what happens when you find out you're pregnant, Ms. King?
Told him that I was pregnant, but I really wasn't pregnant.
Ms. King admits she lied and said she's pregnant. What happened?
At the time, she told me she was pregnant. So I decided, because I didn't have my father in my life, I decided I'm gonna step up to the plate regardless. I was there throughout the whole everything.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more tangled, Ms. King drops another stunner. During the time she planned to come clean about her faux pregnancy, she actually finds herself pregnant for real. This twist not only adds a layer of irony, complicates the narrative further, showcasing her initial deceit followed by a true pregnancy. Buckle up, the roller coaster of revelations isn't over yet.
During that time that I wasn't pregnant, I actually found out that I was pregnant.
Because you was really trying to get pregnant because you knew you had lied. You worked real hard at that.
Yeah.
Because you had already lied.
How you pregnant?
But you didn't even know I was lying about my pregnancy until recently. I just came out clear and told you I even lied about being pregnant.
But you did let him know that you lied. Lie, that erodes trust.
As the plot thickens, Ms. King faces tough questioning about the possibility of other potential fathers given her earlier deception and the timeline of her pregnancy. She stoutly denies informing anyone else that they could be the father, insisting Mr. Porter is the sole candidate. What happens next will have you on the edge of your seat.
Did you ever tell any other man they potentially could be the father?
No, George was the only person that I was sleeping around that I got pregnant.
Like the whole time when she was pregnant, like in the hospital, you know, giving birth to her, it was like, you could say drain, you know, so she went to sleep, her phone started to go off. You know, I'm a curious guy, something like that. I'm like, why am I
curious, George?
You'll get a kick out of this. Ms. King, in an attempt to solidify her claim, presents a height chart in court, arguing that Mr. Porter must be the father because both are notably short, suggesting a genetic link to their son's stature. This piece of evidence is met with skepticism, as it's a shaky argument at best. The courtroom is about to be shaken up with the actual truth. Get ready.
Who said he's the father? My son is actually a little vertically challenged. I have a chart that I created. Would you like me to show it to you? As you can see, the average male is at 5'9". George is 5'2". Each time that I take my son to the doctor to get his wellness check, he actually falls between the lower 3 foot 5 inches. My son is 3 feet. Me and George both are short, so it's guaranteed that my son is going to be short.
And now, the grand finale. The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Porter, you are the father.
So here's a wild start. Ms. Phillips kicks things off by filing a case against Mr. Polk to prove he's the father of her 1-month-old daughter, Promise. After a thumbs up on the pregnancy, Mr. Polk has ghosted since the baby was born. Ms. Phillips is here, not just to talk, but to get some real answers about paternity and responsibilities.
Ms. Phillips, you've opened your case today to prove to Mr. Polk that he is the father of your 1-month-old daughter, Promise. You say after Mr. Polk's initial acceptance of the pregnancy, he has been MIA since your daughter's birth.
Yes, ma'am.
And the plot thickens. They delve into how their relationship started. It's a social media saga, fueled by past connections and a bit of spite. A simple friend request spirals into a full-blown relationship mess.
When she posted him, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to go snatch him up. So I had some little friend requests with him. He started liking my pictures and inboxing me. He blowing my little inbox up.
She inboxed me first.
No, that's not
That's
true.
how I did.
So basically, you met through social media. You all ended up getting together, having sex, starting a relationship.
I was actually in a relationship, so it really wasn't that serious. serious. I just wanted.
Just when you think you've seen it all, Ms. Phillips confronts Mr. Polk with a barrage of texts where he's apparently all in on having a baby with her, which he's now outright denying. She's not just upset, she's armed with receipts. Don't go anywhere. It escalates quickly.
We was texting every day. He was telling me he wanted me to have his baby. I got text messages. For 2 years, he told me he wanted me to have his baby. Then I get pregnant, he wanted to deny my girl.
Were you saying you wanted her to have your baby, Mr. Polk?
No, ma'am.
He was saying that for
Probably
2 years.
a couple times.
You said a couple times. Well, let me tell you now, this is a flash for you. It only takes one.
Next up, some serious tea gets spilled. Ms. Phillips accuses Mr. Polk of ditching protection, contrary to his earlier claims. This points to a deeper trust issue and throws a wrench in Mr. Polk's story.
I know you don't believe him, because let me tell you, he don't like condoms. He don't like protection. He don't use protection.
So you say you weren't protected?
No.
Tell me the story.
Never.
The first time you got together, when was that?
It was back in June in 2007.
That wasn't the first time. It was like July 4th.
Did you have sex first time you all got together, or did you go on dates?
I'm talking about straight to it.
Here's a twist you didn't see coming. Ms. Phillips drops a bombshell about getting a tattoo that reads property of Mr. Polk's name. It was meant to be a matching set, but Mr. Polk bailed on returning the gesture. As this tattoo saga unfolds, keep your eyes peeled for the next move.
Everything, because BJ was telling me, oh, if you went with him, we'll be there. I want you to have my baby. I want to be family with you. All that good stuff.
Fell for that okay?
Yeah, so I left my man. Got his name tatted on me.
Yeah, she did that.
I got a tattoo of his name on you?
It says property of in his name. He supposed to got my name tattooed on him, but he didn't, because he's a compulsive liar. And he's a deadbeat, period.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Amidst the court drama, Ms. Phillips reveals that their relationship didn't pause for the courtroom. They've been continuing their encounters, complicating everything to another level.
And he trying to claim he cut me off, but he was catching Uber. I went to my hotel last night at 4 o'clock this morning, was getting on my nerves night. Says like 3 folks for him to sit in this courtroom and got a girlfriend.
She paid for both of my Ubers.
No, I did not. He paid. Your Honor, he's lying.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Mr. Polk throws in a curveball by claiming Ms. Phillips admitted to sleeping with someone else during the crucial conception period, which she awkwardly semi-confirms.
She did tell me she slept with someone else.
I did.
That's what I want to understand. Do you have doubt, Mr. Polk? You say she told you, Ms. Phillips told you slept with somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the court.
She said, BJ, I slept with someone else. Just like that. He says me real good.
When did this just come out?
Your Honor, no. Let me say.
Get ready for some clarity, or not. The judge crunches some conception dates, and Mr. Polk is smack in the middle of the probable father window. But there's also another potential dad lurking in the possible time frame.
When was Promise born?
She was born on March the 15th, but my due date was March the 22nd.
So let's calculate. Probable conception dates are between June 27th and July 1st. Possible conception dates are between June 26th and July 6th.
Look at that one.
And here comes the big reveal, folks.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Polk, you are the father.
Strap in. It's a wild ride from here. The case kicks off with Mr. Adams' mother, claiming her son is teetering on the brink of jail for unpaid child support. They're in court to debunk the claim that he's the father of a 3-year-old, aiming to keep him out of the slammer.
You claim he's on the verge of being arrested for back child support, and you're both with us to prove he's not father of the defendant's 3-year-old son in an effort to keep him out of jail.
Guess what's brewing? Ms. Adams lays out their dire situation with the urgency of a ticking time bomb. Her son could be nabbed by the cops any second for not paying child support, even though he questions his paternity.
Your Honor, my son is now facing jail because of this situation.
You're concerned that he could be arrested for failure to pay child support for a child that have doubts is even his child.
True, Your Honor.
It's getting spicy now. Mr. Adams throws shade, saying he and Ms. Williams were never an item, just a brief fling that, in his view, already says a lot about her. It's essential context because, well, the whole paternity question hinges on it.
First date, so that was a judge character right there.
You weren't in a committed relationship.
No, Your Honor.
When you met Mr. Adams, did you intend this to be a committed relationship?
Young at the time, be hooked on and off.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Ms. Williams drops a bombshell. She was playing the field back then, which pretty much lends credence to all the paternity doubts Mr. Adams has been harping about.
During that time, were you also sleeping with other men as well?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Without using protection?
Yes, it's a possibility. I never said, oh, you are the father or you gonna take care of this baby.
For child support, for a child everybody agreed may or may not be his.
You thought that was juicy? Ms. Williams spins a new twist in the tale, admitting she initially tagged her ex as the daddy and didn't even consider Mr. Adams until the ex was ruled out by DNA.
No, I didn't.
You thought it was your ex, mine too, and you all went the whole process, but then you had a test, it was not your ex. So immediately then you said,
I located him and I told him it's possibility you may be the father of John.
No way, there's more. Amid the chaos, Mr. Adams is sticking to his guns, suspecting there might be other potential dads who've been in the mix. This throws another layer of doubt over the already murky paternity waters.
Well, actually, Your Honor, I I feel like it was other people as well.
What evidence do you have to suggest that?
Talked to Miss Williams, and that Miss Williams stated that she has tested as well.
That was my ex I had tested. There were no other guys.
Cue the facepalm moment. The reason Mr. Adams missed his DNA test? A hangover. Yep, you heard right. This isn't just a hiccup. It's a face-first dive into legal hot water, including a default paternity declaration and a child support nightmare.
Couldn't go. I was hungover. I'm not gonna lie, you know, he was hungover. All the other times that we scheduled dates, she was not probably off partying or anything, Your Honor.
But I don't know how you lay up talking about you hungover.
And then reality hits hard. Mr. Adams details his surprise arrest for unpaid child support, a stark reminder of how quickly things can spiral when paternity and legal responsibilities are in limbo. Don't go anywhere. The drama escalates.
Cigarettes, police just ran our name. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant, so I gave them my name proud, like, come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams. And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
And how much time did you serve for this?
Like 10 days.
Finally, the moment of truth. No, really this time.
That Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Buckle up for this roller coaster. Miss Renfro kicks things off with a bombshell, claiming with no shadow of a doubt that Mr. Tuesday is the father of her son Kendall, who battles a grave genetic health issue. She underlines just how crucial the paternity results are for her child's medical future. Meanwhile, Mr. Tuesday stands firm on his belief that he is not the father, eagerly awaiting the results to clear his name.
Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetic passed down by the defendant. And that's why Day's paternity results are critical.
Yes, Your Honor.
The drama intensifies. Miss Renfro slams Mr. Tuesday for shirking financial responsibilities and not being present during critical moments of her pregnancy and Kendall's medical procedure. In a twist, Mr. Tuesday concedes to visiting just once, casting doubts about his paternity based on the baby's looks, claiming the child bears no resemblance to him.
So, Ms. Renfro, why do you believe Mr. Tuesday is denying paternity?
He don't want to take financial responsibility. He hasn't been there. He was there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, for his surgery, he wasn't there. I contacted him, tried to let him know, and there was still nothing, no response, no.
So you're saying, Ms. Renfro, that Mr. Tuesday has shown any care, concern about...
He's never even seen my...
Did that just happen? As we delve deeper, we learn about the casual fling between Miss Renfro and Mr. Tuesday that got serious around her pregnancy announcement. Miss Renfro spills the beans on taking 7 pregnancy tests and how Mr. Tuesday ghosted her thereafter.
Give me the nature of this relationship, Ms. Renfro.
Yeah, we started out friends, like we met through mutual friends, and it was sexual, and we talked about being in a relationship, and then found out I was pregnant. I took 7 pregnancy tests.
And at that point, you say Mr. Tuesday just backed off.
Yeah, there was no contact after that. He ignored my calls, text messages. He didn't say nothing. He was like, well, who's the dad?
Hold on to your seats, folks. Miss Renfro lays out the gravity of Kendall's health issues, explaining his diagnosis with Hirschsprung's disease, which she suspects is genetically transmitted by Mr. Tuesday. She recounts the intense surgeries Kendall endured right after his birth, spotlighting the genetic stakes at play. Keep watching. The reaction to this revelation is a must-see.
My son has an issue with his stomach. He was born with what you call Hirschsprung's disease, and it's through genetics. None of my other kids have it. I had sex with him. I got pregnant, and my son had to have surgery at 6 days old.
See, Your Honor, I don't have any type of medical...
But it can be passed through your mom, your dad. It could be down the road from anybody in your family. It don't have to be necessarily from you.
The plot thickens. An emotional Miss Renfro emphasizes the dire need for Mr. Tuesday to step up owing to Kendall's health complications. She clears the air about any other potential fathers during the conception period, reinforcing her selective intimacy. The courtroom is on edge, and what comes next is jaw-dropping.
My son deserves to know who his dad is because of the issues he has with his health, responsibility for his child. I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong. Lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected, and when I have sex with people...
Then why would you have another guy signing a birth certificate?
The tension is palpable. Miss Renfro details the struggles of single motherhood, particularly managing Kendall's frequent medical crises alone. She vents her frustration over Mr. Tuesday's uncooperative stance, complicating the gathering of a full medical history for Kendall. Fasten your seatbelts. The ensuing testimony throws everything into question.
Without the man you say is biological father, and go through all of... When you're having a medical issue, everybody knows first thing they ask you is your family history. So how has this been for the last...
It's full. It's hard. My son has to see a surgeon twice a month. He's in and out of the hospital with infections in his intestines, and my son deserves to know who dad is.
You can cut the tension kitchen with a knife. Kristen, a friend of Miss Renfro, steps up, hinting at another potential father around the conception timeframe, casting a shadow of doubt over Miss Renfro's previous assertions. The courtroom is buzzing, and the implications of this testimony are about to turn heads.
State your name for the court.
I'm Kristen.
What relationship are you to Miss Renfro?
This is my best friend. I've known her for like 10 years. Tells me everything. Well, like Danielle said, that's his dad. I believe her. I believe she's a lie. You know, if there was a possibility, I think she would tell me about it. Mr. Tuesday, he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's doing this purposely because, you know, like he said, she was texting whatever, you know, texting a guy.
This is where it gets really spicy. Reflecting on the recent bombshells, Mr. Tuesday doubles down on his denial, shaped by past false paternity claims. He debates the possibility that he's not the father, given the fresh doubts aired. The judge is about to drop a truth bomb that will rock the courtroom.
I'm just thinking that I know for a fact, just say my kid.
How do you know? That don't prove nothing because who I slept with, that don't mean nothing. I used a condom, so there is no other option to cheat.
But you was sleeping around though.
I wasn't sleeping around. If we wasn't together, it don't matter who I was sleeping with.
Miss Renfro, it does matter though.
Here comes a curveball.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Tuesday, you are not father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Oops.
Buckle up for a wild ride from the get-go. Miss McDowell kicks things off by staunchly asserting that her 1-month-old daughter, Annabelle, is undeniably her husband's child. She's all in, claiming the conception timeline syncs perfectly with their encounters. On the flip side, Mr. McDowell throws major shade, labeling his wife a cheater and pointing fingers at Mr. Alfred, the new guy, as the likely dad. He's itching to bolt from the marriage if the DNA test shows Annabelle isn't his.
Ms. McDowell, you say you have no doubt 1-month-old daughter, Annabelle, is your husband's biological child because you claim you only had sex with Mr. McDowell the window of conception. Mr. McDowell, you say you're nothing but a cheater and you believe the man she left for, Mr. Alfred, is in fact Annabelle's father. Say that once the DNA proves the child is not yours, you want out of this marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Strap in for some soap opera level revelations from Mr. McDowell. He's playing the single dad card hard, juggling their other kids and coping with his wife's alleged escapades. He recounts a tale of deception where Miss McDowell fibbed about crashing at a friend's place, only for him to learn she was cozying up with another man.
The children we have lost their mother, a single father at the moment. I'm taking care of them by myself. It all went down like she just one day told me she was going to go to her friend, a female friend's house in a few hours.
That's not true.
And then she called me later that night that she was going to end up spending the night. Well, the next day, the friend she went go spend the night with, she walked into the home, called her, Miss McDowell, her boyfriend, on the couch cuddling.
Grab your popcorn for this bombshell of a calendar expose. Miss McDowell lays down the law with a calendar marked with intimate dates, trying to pin down the father based on her tryst with Mr. McDowell and Mr. Alfred. She's all about proving Mr. McDowell's paternity during what she calls the critical conception window, despite her romantic rendezvous with others.
I have proof here that yes, I did. We had sex on the 27th, and also I had sex with Mr. Alfred on the 9th and the 10th of November. And then I also have, from what my midwife told me, my conceiving week, and that's the week I had sex with Mr. McDowell.
It shows on 27th of October, you were intimate with your husband.
Things just got real personal. Enter stage left, Mr. McDowell's mom, Miss Combs, who's none too pleased with the ongoing drama. She spills the beans on reluctantly supporting Miss McDowell through her pregnancy while doubting the whole grandchild narrative. Her frustration is palpable, painting a picture of manipulation and financial exploitation.
Well, it's not my grandchild.
May I say one more thing? We had a court scheduled in I was walking down the hallway, I was running late for court. She did not know where I was. I tucked in behind the corner to where no one could see me, that she knew the child wasn't mine and that she was.
He asked me if why does Mr. McDowell's child?
You won't believe what comes next. Mr. Alfred steps into the fray, stirring the pot by questioning his own potential paternity and suggesting another mystery man might be in the running. His candid revelations add layers to the already tangled narrative, suggesting nothing is as simple as it seems. As the court digests his bombshells, the emotional roller coaster is far from over. Next up, heartstrings will be tugged.
Do you believe your baby Annabelle biological father?
Personally, believe me or Michael, either one or the father. I think it might be the gentleman that she was with before she tried to work things out with Mike.
What's interesting here is you say the baby's your husband. Your husband says the baby's your love, and your lover says the baby by another.
The emotional stakes are sky high as the curtain rises on this act. As the case winds down, Miss McDowell and Mr. Alfred make their final, impassioned pleas, reflecting on their fraught relationship, the uncertain future of little Annabelle. They lay bare their hopes and fears, setting the stage for a climax filled with potential heartbreak or relief.
I have custody
the first
of the
5 months
prior
of her
3
pregnancy,
kids.
she believed that it was Mr. McDowell's up until the 6th month. She tried to claim that it was mine. I personally believe that she was trying to see who would take her in and support
Who would give her the most?
Like I said, I don't believe the baby's mine. I hope the results are different because, like I said, we are in a relationship together.
So you want the child to be yours, but you don't believe the child is yours.
Yes, ma'am.
And now, the moment we've all been on the edge of our receipts for.
Mr. McDowell or Mr. Alfred is the biological father. Mr. Alfred, you are her father.
Thank God.
Miss Dallas brings Mr. Stewart to court to establish paternity for her 1-month-old son, Lamar. She is utterly gobsmacked. Mr. Stewart is denying paternity, especially given his shady behavior, which suggests he's been leading a double life. Miss Dallas is adamant that it's actually Mr. Stewart who's been playing games, not her.
Miss Dallas, you have dragged Mr. Stewart into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar. You say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad, especially since you discovered he's the one a double life.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Stewart counters Miss Dallas's claim, suggesting her possibly dubious fidelity has made the paternity of baby Lamar a big question mark. Miss Dallas takes us back to the start of their relationship, from a serendipitous breakfast encounter to a secretive affair shrouded by Mr. Stewart's marital status kept under wraps.
Mr. Stewart, you claim that it's Miss Dallas been far from faithful, and you believe that baby Lamar's dad any one of multiple men. So Miss Dallas, take us to your relationship before you found out about Mr. Stewart's alleged double life.
Cedric with Mr. Stewart, June of 2016. Out having breakfast with my friend, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. He walked up to me.
The confrontation heats up as Miss Dallas questions Mr. Stewart about why he hid his marital status during their initial dating phase. Mr. Stewart admits he misled her, keeping his marriage a secret until she pressed him for answers, claiming they were separated and almost divorced.
I'm like, you got a girlfriend? He like, no. I'm like, you have a baby mom there? He like, no. You got a wife? And then he was like, yeah. So he proceeded to tell me like, oh, they are separated, they going through a divorce.
Date her casually, have sex with her, and finally, only later tell her that you were married?
It didn't quite go like that.
How did it go?
You know, it didn't come up.
Mr. Stewart spills the beans about pretending to be single and fesses up to being married without pursuing a divorce as he had implied. This bombshell forces Miss Dallas to reflect on how his dishonesty has affected their relationship and her decision to stay with him even after discovering the truth.
So you were out there acting like a single man, but you were married?
Yes.
Were you getting a divorce then?
I wasn't in, I didn't have it filed, but in my head, yeah, I was getting a divorce.
In your head.
That means you were still married?
Yeah.
How often did you see one another? If you're married with your wife at
home?
home?
That's it, every day.
Come over there when he get off work. Only time he probably house and when he went to go change his clothes or put on his work clothes.
Tensions escalate with the pregnancy bombshell as Miss Dallas, now fully aware of Mr. Stewart's marital status, grapples with her emotions and the whirlwind of promises he continues to make. She chooses to stick with Mr. Stewart, swayed by his vows despite the complex web of their situation.
Yes, I did have second thoughts, but once things started hitting more, like I was already pregnant. And I love Cedric, you know. He was telling me like, I'm gonna do the divorce, we're gonna have a house, all this, we're gonna raise our son together. I was believing him because that's to do was believe him, you know.
So he had you high on promises and drunk off the cream.
The conversation turns to Mr. Stewart's initial joy about the pregnancy, which soon morphs into doubt amid whispers of Miss Dallas's alleged infidelities. External meddling and scandalous photos sent by a supposed friend throw even more shade on Miss Dallas's loyalty.
We have no kids.
But you have 3 children from a previous relationship. How long have you been married?
10 years.
Start beginning doubt. So-called my shit was telling him and his wife been around with men when I conceived Lamar. But it was the same friend that sent him get pictures of herself to telling him that I was sleeping around with somebody else. So why wouldn't she want to sleep with you?
Miss Stewart, Mr. Stewart's wife, joins the courtroom, shedding light on her view of the timeline and nature of her husband's affair with Miss Dallas. She confronts the tales spun in court and expresses her own heartache and frustration with both her husband and Miss Dallas.
This testimony is troubling.
Very troubling, and it was not true.
What part of the testimony?
How they met. Cedric met her online.
And so you believe he was actually looking for
exactly
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but
do you believe Miss Dallas knew married from the beginning?
I wouldn't say from the beginning, but she very, very early.
In the midst of the paternity debate, we discover that Mr. Stewart and Miss Dallas are currently living together, kind of. Their on-again, off-again living situation and ongoing disputes highlight the confusion and chaos of their relationship.
So you and Miss Dallas, you live together?
We kind of, you know what I mean?
We live together, but we go back and forth.
Together. We go back and forth. Like she done moved out.
You all divorced or still married?
Legally, we're still married.
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself at this point. Cedric has 3 children of his own that he has neglected to take care of her children.
No.
The court digs into the confusing pregnancy timeline, which both women use to bolster their arguments. The spotlight on Mr. Stewart's shifty behavior underscores his pivotal role in the ongoing conflict. painting a picture of a man who has stirred up significant turmoil. And now comes the moment we've all been waiting for.
This issue about the timeline, though.
Because I'm big, you know, they was going off the measurement of my belly. I didn't start showing until I was like 8 months, really getting a round belly or whatever, but the measurements were off, but the ultrasound, right on point.
It has been determined by this court. Stewart, you are the father.
Told you. I ain't got no reason to.
And after this night, you just had this one night. How many more threesomes did you have?
We've had a total of 8 of them. We've had 8 of them since before my daughters and after.
On bad.
Did you ever get the phone?
Because I never gave in to him. I said no.
Strap in for some courtroom drama. The case kicks off with the introduction of the parties involved. Ms. Jones and her mother are fed up with Mr. Houston's denial about being the dad of a 6-month-old boy named Lyric. Ms. Jones is adamant about proving paternity and getting reimbursed for all those baby expenses. You'll want to stick around to see how this unfolds.
Today's case is unfortunately another one of these cases about young love. Ms. Jones, you and your mother say you are tired of the defendant's denial. He's the biological father of your 6-month-old son. DNA results prove your claim. You demand to be reimbursed for baby Lyric's child care expenses.
Here's where the plot thickens. Mr. Houston and his mom think Ms. Jones's accusations are just out of jealousy because of his new fling. Both sides are dug in, betting all their chips on the DNA test to lay bare the truth. The suspense is building, and you just gotta see what's next.
And you and your mother believe jealousy over your new relationship has led plain point to you as her child's father, and you are convinced the truth will be revealed in court.
Yes, Your Honor. Dive deeper into the soap opera. Ms. Jones spills the tea on their breakup saga, blaming Mr. Houston's immaturity and how he let gossip dictate his action, leading to their split right before prom. Their high school romance turned sour is just the prelude to even more jaw-dropping moments ahead.
Where did your relationship with the defendant go wrong?
Well, Your Honor, he was so immature, I had to break it off with him a week before prom. Everybody in his ear, he doesn't have a brain for himself.
Were you boyfriend and girl in high school? Mr. Houston, do you think for yourself?
Yes, I do.
Oh, it's getting spicy now. Amidst a heated exchange about when exactly they called it quits, Mr. Houston throws out accusations of cheating, which Ms. Jones fiercely denies. The family feud aspect just adds more fuel to this fiery exchange. But wait, there's more drama just around the corner.
We broke up because she was getting confronted of cheating on me.
I have never cheated on him.
But once I
was the one who was cheating on him. And it was mainly you that was
me and my daughter were catching text messages coming
What
through your
text
phone. The one about the gentleman asking about did y'all have a good time last?
It wasn't a
and
text
then you
message
denied
in my
it
phone.
when my 10-year-old daughter was sitting there?
Crank up the tension. Ms. Houston claims she caught a glimpse of some shady texts on Ms. Jones's phone, stirring the pot further. Ms. Jones is having none of it, denying she ever let that happen. The plot thickens, and what comes next is even more gripping.
And I was like, what? She said, look, a gentleman said, did you have a good time last?
No, God never texted me.
Bottom line is denying their allegation that some man, some other boy.
I don't know why they got their
When
idea.
you two were dating, were you dating anyone else?
No, I'm faithful to him.
Buckle up for a game changer. Ms. Jones drops the bombshell that she found out she was pregnant after they split, and boy, did she wrestle with whether to tell Mr. Houston and his dramatic family. The twists keep coming, and you won't believe what's revealed next.
I found out June 3rd that I was pregnant. And then, like, once I scheduled the date for my actual appointment to see how far along I was a whole month. That's when I decided I didn't know if I was going to tell them because of all the drama that I went being with him. I knew that we're probably going to deny my baby.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, in the middle of hashing out why Ms. Jones kept her pregnancy under wraps, slips out that Mr. Houston's current girlfriend, Savannah, is also expecting his baby. The revelations are fast and furious. Make sure you're ready for what's up next.
Well, why did you wait so long to tell us? And then I was like, because after all the stuff that I went through, I decided that I wasn't sure if I was going to involve you guys. And then plus, I had a hard involve myself with all that drama. I'm going to call you back. And then she was like, are you doing this because his girlfriend Savannah? And I was like, what does she have to do with my pregnancy? And then she was like, because and she's pregnant also.
The anticipation is off the charts as Ms. Jones talks about her proactive approach to getting a DNA test. The courtroom is thick with anticipation about what the science will say. This is the crescendo of the drama, so don't go anywhere.
Your Honor, I asked for DNA tests more than 3 times. I already knew that me telling them at 8 months that I was pregnant, I already knew it was probably going to be like some denial. I offered the DNA test. The mom was like,
Coworkers say somebody else was the baby daddy.
What coworker?
Manager said.
The manager.
One of the guys claiming to be her baby daddy.
Grab your popcorn. Here comes the big reveal. The results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Houston, you are the father.
Boom! Bitch ass.
Miss Jones,
Can you believe we're starting off like this? The case of Owens, Roe vs. Raines, kicks off with Judge Lake greeting the litigants. Ms. Owens claims Mr. Raines fathered her daughter Jamie out but abandoned them during her pregnancy. Mr. Raines disputes the paternity, insisting they were separated at the time of conception. Brace yourselves. It's only heating up from here.
The case of Owens, Roe vs. Raines.
You say that after a whirlwind teenage romance and a brief marriage to Mr. Raines, he got you pregnant and then left high and dry to raise your daughter Jamie on your own. You say the defendant is fully aware he is your daughter's father and you intend to this today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, here's where the spice gets added to the drama. Ms. Owens lets loose, calling Mr. Raines unfaithful and unreliable, which shakes up the courtroom vibe. Judge Lake steps in for some clarity on the murky timeline of their relationship and their eventual split. And oh, you'll want to stick around for what's next.
So, Ms. Owens, why would he leave you when you were pregnant?
Because he was a lying, cheating piece of trash.
Oh, say how you really feel.
I was actually 2 to 3 weeks pregnant when I went in to live with my parents when he left. Him and 2 of his friends had come home about 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 girls.
Talk about a curveball. Mr. Raines lays out his defense, talking about their on and off relationship and his final walkout. He drops a bombshell about a letter from Ms. Owens, claiming her pregnancy months after he left, casting doubt due to the suspicious timing and their separation by counties. The plot thickens, and you won't believe what's coming.
We were off and on, we were young. She got pregnant initially, and I married her because I was trying to do the right thing. She wanted to have a miscarriage. Again, after that, off and on, I got tired of it. She always wanted to go back home. 3 to 4 months, I get a letter from her, and that's saying she's pregnant, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I hate your luck.
Don't blink now. This part is crucial. A major timeline dispute erupts over when Ms. Roe was conceived. Mr. Raines uses a calendar to argue he had left before Jamie could have been conceived, a claim hotly contested by Ms. Owens. The tension is palpable, and trust me, it only gets more intense.
Jamie was born July 31st. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is when Claire says she's pregnant.
I got pregnant in October.
This is when she's the 6th day, so I left in August. We broke up. I was no longer with her.
Is your birthday July 31st, Ms. Rowe?
Every word here is loaded. Ms. Owens shares the emotional toll of Mr. Raines' absence, emphasizing her desire for Hammy to have a father figure like she did. She recounts a hurtful letter from Mr. Raines during her pregnancy, which denied his paternity. Buckle up. The emotional roller coaster is about to take another dive.
When I was 7 months pregnant, out to here, and he said, "You are not pregnant, all in your head. If you are pregnant, it is not mine. Do not give that baby my last name. Do not put me on the birth certificate."
No.
Is exactly what it said. As a mother, I wanted my daughter to have a father like I had growing up.
The stakes have never been higher. Judge Lake probes when Mr. Raines reappeared in Jaime's life, learning that Ms. Owens brought Jaime to meet him at just 2 weeks old. Mr. Raines' doubts persisted, affecting his involvement with Jaime. Stay tuned, there are more bombshells to come.
I actually took her to see him when she was 2 weeks.
And when you saw her?
You know, there's still doubt.
Did you put him on the birth certificate, Ms. Owens?
No, ma'am, I did not.
And at that time, he was your husband?
Correct. In the state of Kentucky, you do not have to put the child on the birth certificate.
The plot thickens yet again. Despite his doubts, Mr. Raines admits he tried to take responsibility amid their tumultuous relationship. The discussion unveils the deep-rooted uncertainty about Jaime's paternity, compounded by Ms. Owens' earlier decisions and revelations. And guess what? There's more to unravel.
Paid. I took responsibility of her. You know, I had family saying she looks like you and stuff, and I just thought I was doing the right thing, Your Honor. It was not easy with Miss Clara to try to even see her. They have a relationship.
Because are here in court today asserting that you are not Ms. Rowe's biological father.
That's her fault.
And yet throughout her life, you've spent time, money, and energy trying to establish.
Here's a crucial turning point. Don't miss it. The court dives deeper into the exact timing of Jaime's conception, aligning it with Ms. Owens' admission of being with another man shortly after Mr. Raines. As the truth slowly unfolds, the anticipation builds. The next reveal is a doozy.
You would have had to get pregnant in October. You then said, when I went home. Point is what you're saying is the same window of time when you were with this other man.
3 weeks later.
3 weeks, 1 day. You were with somebody else. There's doubt.
I was not with you, Mr. Raines. I did not. You did me.
I want to make it clear. We're establishing a window of conception because that is related. That's why we're dealing with this.
You won't see this coming. The paternity test results are finally unveiled.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Raines, you are the father.
You won't believe what just happened. At the start, Ms. Hooker, alongside her mother, presents her case. She claims that the defendant's late son, Mr. Abraham, is the father of her 10-month-old daughter, Kania. Ms. Hooker expresses her pain due to the public denial of her child by Ms. Baker and her family, seeking both an apology and paternity confirmation. Brace yourself, because what happens next is even more jaw-dropping.
Ms. Hooker, you are here with your mother because you say the defendant's son, Mr. Abraham, fathered your 10-month-old daughter, Kania. You say that Ms. Baker and her family's denial of this child has caused pain, and you are here for an apology and to prove her son is the father.
Oh, the plot thickens. Ms. Baker, representing her deceased son, disputes the paternity claim. She recounts her son's doubts about being the father and states their intention to clear up the falsehood surrounding the paternity of Ms. Hooker's child. Get ready, because the stakes are about to get even higher.
Ms. Baker, you and your daughter are here today to represent your son, Abraham, because tragic, he was killed 3 months after the birth of this child. You say that before his death, your son expressed great doubt that he was the father of Ms. Hooker's baby, and you are here to put the lies to rest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here's where it gets spicy. Judge Lake probes into the nature of the relationship between Ms. Hooker and the deceased, Mr. Abraham. Ms. Hooker reveals they were initially best friends before transitioning into a romantic relationship, which was intermittent around the time she got pregnant. Just wait until you hear what's revealed next. It'll make your head spin.
First, we was best friends. 6th grade year, best friends. And then, like, we stopped talking. Then we started going together for a minute. And then, like, when I got pregnant, we just always talk, but we just stopped going. But we still talking, though, but we just stopped going together. Like, we weren't boyfriend or girlfriend.
But then you still talk. Were you in love, or was this was your first love?
Hold on to your seats. This is a doozy. Ms. Baker explains why there was doubt about her son being the father. She shares that her son had been informed by another young man that he was also involved with Ms. Hooker during the periods Mr. Abraham wasn't around, intensifying the paternity doubts. You won't believe what comes up next. It's a real game changer.
My son was on vacation. We kept hearing that Denia was pregnant, but then when we finally found out, he told me, he said he wasn't the only boy that had messed with Denia. Promised that we was gonna get a blood test, and things didn't go the way we thought they were gonna go, and now we're here.
Buckle up for this bombshell. A direct confrontation occurs when Ms. Baker shares rumors of another potential father. Ms. Hooker defends her fidelity, emphasizing that no one else was involved during her relationship with Mr. Abraham. Stay tuned. What follows will really throw you for a loop.
He told Keyshawn that when he wasn't around, he was supposedly sleeping with Denia.
Ms. Hooker, I have to ask you, was there another guy?
That's why it's funny, because how can somebody tell me who I was? Nobody in the room was in the room with me when I was sleeping. What do I have to lie for?
This is where things really heat up. The dialogue reveals underlying tensions within Ms. Baker's family about the child's paternity, illustrating how the dispute affects wider family dynamics and Ms. Hooker's perceived standing within the family. The next revelation will knock your socks off.
And it's not even Miss Baker. It's her family who makes it. She just sleeping around with everybody.
From what I ever heard about my family, nobody ever talked about her.
It all occurred.
I know my mom said something about, she had a birthday dinner, and my mom did tell me, she said something about maybe her perception of what other people view of her is just her. She has to understand that sometimes it's hard.
The tension could be cut with a knife here. A significant emotional point arises regarding the exclusion of Kania from her supposed father's obituary, suggesting a deliberate distancing by the family due to unresolved paternity issues, leading to heightened emotions and further disputes. Hang tight, because the emotional roller coaster isn't over yet.
She said one of her family members was in the obituary.
But there was no mention.
Kania did get left out. So did my grandmother, and so did one of my sisters.
Okay.
It wasn't just the baby. We weren't together. Nobody was thinking right at that time. We weren't with none of us together. And all 3 of these people got left out, so it wasn't just Kania.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The climax of the episode occurs as the DNA test results are disclosed.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Baker, Mr. Abraham, and Kania Abraham is 0%.
And this is why right here.
Ms. Baker, are you all right?
Well, buckle up for this one. Ms. Clifton opens her case by accusing Mr. Little of stopping financial support for their twins after another man started contributing financially. She insists on a paternity test to confirm Mr. Little's fatherhood and restore his financial contributions. The tension rises as she expresses her struggles as a single mother, making it clear she's not here to play games. Just when you think you've seen it all, there's men due to her low income and the demands of her children, including her oldest boy who plays football. She defends her actions by emphasizing emphasizing the necessity of support for her children's needs. This
case may have been, time went on. So Miss Clifton came to me and asked me, she was like, okay, Sam,
Who saw that coming? Ms. Clifton confronts Mr. Little about a revealing text message sent to another man, which was mistakenly received by Mr. Little, leading him to doubt the paternity of the twins. This accidental disclosure heightens Mr. Little's suspicions about the true paternity of the children. The court is left to ponder the implications of these communications on the case, and just when you thought it couldn't escalate further, hold on to your seats.
I get a random text from her texting.
You got proof of this text?
Yes, ma'am. After I got the text, maybe a day or so went by, I never confronted her that I had gotten it.
He think you were pregnant by him.
Did things just heat up or what? A tense exchange occurs as Mr. Little describes providing sidelined is met with skepticism from the judge. The situation underscores the ongoing trust issues and the complicated personal dynamics at play. The conclusion of this episode is something you simply cannot miss. Are you ready for the grand finale? The climactic moment arrives with the reading of the paternity test results.
King and Kalani Little, Mr. Little, you are not. Are not.
Can you believe we're starting like this? Ms. Livingston steps into the courtroom once again, hoping against hope that DNA results will confirm Mr. Snyder as the dad of little Emmeline. She admits to a colossal blunder in her past, which now leads her ex to question paternity. The emotional stakes couldn't be higher as their family's unity hangs by a thread. Brace yourself because Mr. Snyder is about to drop some truth bombs.
You previously appeared in this court to prove one man was your child's father, only to be proved wrong. You've returned with another case. You admit you made one big mistake and now your ex is denying 5-month-old daughter, Emmeline. You hope the DNA results save your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Armed with what he claims is solid evidence, the courtroom's atmosphere gets supercharged. You'll be glued to your seat as the story unfolds.
Mr. Snyder, you say the plaintiff is a self-admitted.
Hold tight because a bombshell text message is about to make a splash.
Why be there for a child that's not mine?
And so the stakes are high.
I love Mr. Snyder and I have for a long time, and I know I made a mistake. It doesn't mean that our daughter should have to suffer for that. I grew up without both my parents, and I never wanted that for any of my kids. Promised that he wouldn't leave me a single mom of 3, and here I am.
And you're scared.
I'm really scared.
Here comes a curveball. Mr. Snyder reveals a bombshell, a flirty text from another man on Ms. Livingston's phone. This escalates his concerns about her faithfulness and throws a wrench into the paternity issue. The audience gasps are audible. Stick around, the twists just keep coming.
Well, one night, I was sleeping, and I just went through her phone and saw a message from a guy.
What did the message say?
He wanted to meet up with her and have sex.
You see a message, someone propositioning sex to your girlfriend?
I'm with a guy right now. There's like no, it's just I want to have sex. Where you at?
Just when you think it couldn't get more tangled, Ms. Livingston tries to explain away a compromising text found in her phone, saying it was all about getting her phone back without any funny business. The complexity of her predicament and her fight to stay dignified, despite the messy circumstances, gets really intense. Fasten your seatbelts because they're about to dive deep into what it means for the little one.
He had a phone that I was trying to get. He told me the only way I was going to get it is if I would let him do me doggy style. And he was trying to proposition me to get my phone back.
Did you ever get the phone?
Because I never gave in to him. I said no. And when he asked me if I was alone,
I don't see you saying no.
It's not all the messages either. When he asked me if I was alone, I told him no, that my boyfriend would be there.
The emotional stakes are sky high. After months apart filled with misunderstandings, Ms. Livingston attempts to reconnect with Mr. Snyder on Facebook as her due date nears. She owns up to her previous lies, but reaffirms his paternity with heartfelt pregnancy updates. The dynamic of their relationship takes a new turn. Watch their next moves.
I messaged him on Facebook when I was really far along. I was getting ready to have her, actually. I think
Did you get that message, Mr. Snyder? When you got that message, what happened?
She told me I wasn't the father, and that she slept with someone else.
I said, I was like, well, I've cheated on you. So you may be the father, you may not. You'll never know.
I have evidence on that.
So, Mr. Snyder, you say you have evidence of a text exchange.
Get ready for some real talk. Judge Lake steps in to underscore the importance of parental instincts, questioning Ms. Livingston's recent decisions and their impact on her child. This heart-to-heart brings parenting responsibilities and the child's need to know their father into sharp focus. The air is thick with anticipation as they edge closer to unveiling the DNA results.
Is taken care of and knows father, which I will say your mommy instinct. That's what brought you here today. So at this point, Mr. Snyder, you're thinking what? I am not father?
Yeah, that I'm not father and that one of those guys messaging her is. Obviously wanted to know what hotel she was staying in.
Miss Livingston, does he totally?
I block after
then
that.
You block him.
You're not going to believe this part. As the tension mounts, Mr. Snyder discusses his persistent doubts about being Emmeline's father, stirred up by Ms. Livingston's flip-flopping stories. His longing for the child to be his, especially a daughter, adds a poignant layer to the unfolding drama. Everyone's on the edge of their seats as the moment of truth approaches.
Anger planted that seed of doubt in my head that she slept with someone else and the child wouldn't be mine.
So when she said, "I'm sorry, I was lying, I was just angry, I shouldn't have done that," did you believe her?
Definitely not. I did not believe her. How is she going to tell me that someone else and that it's not going to be my child? And then believe that. And then she come back and say, oh, it is your child.
Emmeline's 4 months old.
Almost 5 months.
Here it comes, the moment we've all been waiting for. The courtroom holds its breath as Judge Lake reveals the DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Snyder, you are the father.
The courtroom air was thick with anticipation. Ms. Strong summons Ms. McClain to court to assert that her husband is not the father of Ms. McClain's 14-month-old daughter, Angel. Ms. McClain had unexpectedly contacted Ms. Strong a month prior, claiming her husband fathered her child and demanded his involvement in the child's life. Strap in, because the drama is just getting revved up.
Ms. Strong, you've summoned the defendant, Ms. McClain, to court to prove that your husband did not father her 14-month-old daughter, Angel. You say 1 month ago, Ms. McClain calls you out of the blue and claimed Mr. Strong was her child's father and demanded he take care of her.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plot thickens faster than a pot of courtroom coffee. Ms. McClain confidently states that her daughter is the result of a passionate night with Mr. Strong, asserting his paternity without doubt. Judge Lake listens as the background of their encounter is detailed, indicating a complicated personal connection between the parties involved. Up next, the twists keep coming.
Ms. McClain, you say your daughter is the product of a night passion gone wrong, and you are certain Mr. Strong is the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't believe what they agreed on. Get the popcorn ready. Ms. Strong reveals that the origins of their court appearance began with a planned threesome involving herself, Ms. McClain, and Mr. Strong, intended as a birthday celebration. This plan was agreed upon after considering Mr. Strong's desire and setting specific boundaries, including mutual agreement on raising any potential offspring together. The revelations keep rolling in. Next up is a real doozy.
Me and Ms. McClain got together. We were friends, wanted to do something for our birthday. We had discussed doing a threesome, which it was something my husband had always wanted to do, and I figured if I did it with him, then. So we went back to our apartment and discussed it with Mr. Strong. Resisted at first. It happened. We had some drinks, the music was playing, had a threesome, had a good time that night.
Just when you think it can't get any more tangled. During the threesome discussion, precautions and rules were set, including agreements on no separate encounters and collective child rearing if a pregnancy occurred. However, no formal agreement was written down, leaving the arrangements informal and based on mutual trust. Prepare for more eyebrow-raising details just around the corner.
It would always be the three of us, never separately. If a baby came out of it, we'd raise it together, the three of us.
You all were this thorough?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you get it in writing?
No, Your Honor.
Why were you nervous?
Because prior to our first couple months of our relationship, I made a lot of bad decisions. And when she approached me with this conversation, I thought it was another setup.
Grab your gavels, because this is where it gets juicy. Following the initial encounter, rumors of Ms. McClain's pregnancy circulated, initially believed to be by another man. As more threesomes occurred, totaling 8, the relationship and subsequent complications deepened, leading to increased suspicion and tension regarding paternity. Just wait until you hear what's next. This episode is not slowing down.
I heard rumors about her being pregnant, but I was told it was an extra.
And after this night, you just had this one night. So you had more than one threesome. How many more threesomes did you have?
We've had a total of 8 of them. We've had 8 of them since before my daughters and after.
Can you handle what's next? Because here it comes. Ms. McClain discovered her pregnancy shortly after their first threesome, and despite the ongoing sexual relationship, initially denied Mr. Strong's paternity, attributing it to another man she was seeing concurrently. Buckle up, the roller coaster of revelations isn't over yet.
After we had our very first threesome, I found out I was pregnant.
And you said you had 8 of them. You were still having threesomes with them through your pregnancy?
And after.
When Ms. McClain came and told you she was pregnant.
I asked her if it was my husband's child, and she told me no.
I was in a relationship at that point in time.
This next part is a real head spinner. When it was determined through DNA testing that the other man was not the father, Ms. McClain shifted suspicion towards Mr. Strong. This revelation led to a complex discussion about racial characteristics and the child's appearance, further complicating the paternity question. You'll want to stick around for the next part. It's a real cliffhanger.
You DNA tested the African-American man you were dating. It was determined that he was not biological father. When do you realize this could potentially be?
I asked her when she was an infant and I seen her on the street, and I was
introduced to her for the first time. We heard from a third party that she had had her. We weren't even notified.
The stakes are high, and so are the emotions. As the court delved deeper into personal details and past relationships, Strong couple expressed their openness to accepting Angel due to their circumstances, including Ms. Strong's recent medical issue, preventing her from having more children. The verdict is up next, and it's a shocker.
I do hope that Douglas is Angel's father, they mother and father, whether we're together or not in a house.
If in fact Mr. Strong is not biological,
I'm not gonna cut him out of her life.
Is there a real possibility he is not? It has been determined by this court. Mr. Strong, you are not father.